So to draw this Mountain Bluebird, we're going to be using just a regular mechanical pencil. This one has 0.7 millimeter lead in it and a blue colored pencil. This one has an eraser, but it's honestly not that great. So to start, I'm using a reference here. And with most drawing, you want to look at the reference more than you're actually looking at your drawing, so you'll see me pause quite a bit. So we're just going to start with a diagonal egg shape like this, and that's going to end up being the bird's body. As you can see, I'm drawing really lightly and hardly pressing at all so that we're able to erase this later really easily. So going to do a circle there for the head, just overlap it a little bit and yeah, line it up with the right side of the egg. Going to do a teardrop diagonally for the shape of the wing. Just figure out where we want the feathers to go there. To do another smaller circle for the feet, and another littler circle inside of that. And even though the photo has the bird on some wire, I'm going to put it on a branch just because I think that looks a little bit nicer. And as you can see, I'm still drawing really lightly, hardly even pressing into the paper. And you can already kind of start to see, but my drawing actually looks pretty different than the photo, and that's okay. We can stylize it a little bit. And if it's not turning out exactly how you want, just be patient. Drawing takes a lot of time. So as you can see here, I'm starting on the outline. So for the beak, I just pressed a little bit harder so that the line would be darker. So I'm going to go around the shape that we made with those underlying circles, and since feathers aren't really hard, I'm doing kind of more of a dotted line so that it looks like ruffled feathers, like in the photo. And as you can see, I'm not following the outline exactly. I'm using it more as a reference point for where things should go. Down the chest there. Decided to name this Bluebird Berry. Just thought it'd be a good name. Keep working on the feathers on the wing. Again, not exactly following the outline, but I'm keep looking up at the photo that I'm working from to make sure it's not too far off and convey what berry looks like. And even though this line is a lot darker, I'm not actually pressing as hard as I possibly can be, because otherwise you'll actually damage the paper. So I added the tail in there, and then I'm doing even rougher lines on the belly because that's where the feathers are really soft and ruffled. And then making the talon shape there. Just kind of hooking it around that branch. Wouldn't be able to see the top claws because they're actually going to be behind it, so I actually didn't like how that looked, so I erased it. And that's really important. You know, the eraser is a really good part of the pencil. You can always go back and figure out how you want things to look. Started working on the branch there, and even though I didn't rough them in with a really light pencil drawing, I added little nubs like where other branches would come out or the tree would start to bud. Okay, that's a pretty solid outline, and then we're going to work on the beak a little bit more, refine that shape and get it how we want, and start on the eye, which is really exciting. Just a circle kind of in the center of that larger circle. And again, I started on that and then realized that it really didn't look like how I wanted, so I was able to erase it. And I added some highlights in here, even though they aren't really apparent in the reference photo. I thought it would add a little bit of character to the drawing. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm just using the eraser to clean up some of the pencil outside of the drawing, because it's pretty soft graphite, so it kind of smudges while you're drawing. I'm going to erase where I was showing how hard you can press and start to erase some of the underdrawing so that it looks like it was one shape the whole time. And I forgot to add the left foot there, so just put in a little curved line for that. And we're going to start drawing lines for the feathers. So we're just kind of going parallel to the bottom of the wing there, doing diagonal lines. And notice how these aren't quite as dark as the outline, just because they're feathers laying on top of each other, so it wouldn't stand out quite as much as the wing on top of the bird's body. So getting the colored pencil now, and in the same way that you can do really light lines with a graphite pencil, mechanical pencil, you can do the same thing with a colored pencil. So I have it pretty sharp right here, and I'm using the side of the tip there to just really lightly do light blue. So even though the colored pencil is like a dark blue, you can still get a light blue color. See how the Mountain Bluebird has a pretty dark wing and head, and then its body is kind of a baby blue at the top and gets pretty light at the bottom. You could achieve that with a couple of different colored pencils that are different colors, but I'm just going to use this one and press a little bit harder with it where I want it to be a darker blue, like you can see here. And so the light in that photo is kind of coming from above, so I'm leaving the top of the head really light blue and just kind of fading out from the eye with that darker blue color. I'm going to start on the wing now and kind of do the same thing, get a little bit darker toward the bottom and then soften it out. Start on the body, and I'm not going to do a whole lot there, but I am going to darken up the beak because I didn't quite finish that with the outline. Doing the same thing, just really lightly fading it so that it looks like the beak is brighter at the end there. Adding some shading under the chin so that the head has a little bit more shape to it. And then just really lightly feathering in lines from the outside of the wing so that you kind of get the texture of those feathers. Going to do the same thing on the bottom just so it doesn't look quite as flat. Just shading in the branch, making a little cut end there. And that looks pretty good. There's Barry the Mountain Bluebird. So I'm going to go back in with the eraser, clean it up a little bit, and then, like you do with any drawing you're happy to have done, I put a title on it and put my name too. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Have fun drawing and hope to see what some of y'all make.